Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on hosting my first ever conference, Career Cravings Live. And I want to pull back the curtain about what actually happened, what it actually took to plan that conference and executed it, how it went, and some of the fun behind the scenes kind of moments, the messy middle. And then there were 3 surprises that really shocked me that I could not plan for, that I could not expect. And they were amazing. This is a very different podcast episode than I typically do, but I shared the journey with a couple people after the conference at the VIP dinner, and there was so much interest. They're like, you have to share this. So here we are. Hey, it's Irina Pozan, and welcome back to the Career Cravings podcast. This podcast has a simple mission. It's to help ambitious professionals like you build the career and life that you've been craving. Over the past 15 years, I've worked as an HR leader, designed hiring systems, led recruitment teams, and I've sat on the other side of the hiring table. I've seen what works in today's job market, what doesn't, and what separates those good candidates from the ones that actually land their dream roles. Now I'm bringing everything I've learned straight to you. Each episode is packed with actionable insights and tools to help you land your dream role sooner. Now let's dive in. So let's talk about the very first idea of this event. So 3 years ago, I actually dreamed of hosting a live event and I didn't know what it looked like, but I was at my brand shoot, my very first brand shoot. I remember the moment and I was speaking to my photographer and I was telling her, I was actually asking her for a quote for what it would look like if I did host an event. One of the first things I knew I wanted to have were headshots, right? So I asked her the cost of doing that, and we talked about it, and it was just sort of a dream. I didn't end up doing it. Just wasn't the right time. There were other priorities that took over. I started growing the business. That started growing really quickly, and there was a lot of different areas to really focus on. So it was sort of a dream that I didn't action. It was on the back burner. I talked about it here and there. And this summer 2025, I attended a conference. I got invited by a friend to attend an HR conference. It was for Tech Week in Toronto. And I walk into the space and it was just incredible. Like I walked in, there was this barista there and the space was so unique looking and it was so vibey and it had like 2 floors. And I was so intrigued and the sessions went off super well. And as I was sitting in the audience, right then and there, I could see my event happening and I could see it. I couldn't unsee it. And right in that moment, like as I sat there, I'm like, I know I'm booking this event. Now, at that point, I didn't have a date. I had nothing in mind. I just had this idea that was in the back of my mind for the last 3 years. But as I sat and I listened to other people on the stage speaking, and I kind of saw the vibe and how I could see it for the first time, I could see my event happen in real life. Now, guys, I have been to many conferences since I've had this idea over the last 3 years. But this one, for some reason, was different. I just knew that this was it. This was my spot. And I could see that this venue had everything that I wanted in it in terms of like AV and, podcast equipment and lighting and all of these things. And it was just a great space. So I was like, okay, I see it. Literally, as soon as the CEO got off stage of the venue, I pulled him aside. I told him I loved the space and I asked for pricing literally right then on the spot. And as soon as he told me what it was, I kind of took it all in. And I was at the conference with actually a couple of clients as well. I sat down at lunch with 2 of my clients that were also at this event and I shared the idea with them. And I'm like, I think I'm going to book this space and host an event. Like, would you come? I have no idea if anyone wants to come, right? This is just an idea. I'm excited about it. I could see it. Guys, I'm a very visual manifester. I'm actually going to share that before the end of the year on different things that I've manifested throughout my life. There were very specific times where I could see into the future. I know exactly how things were going to unfold. And this was almost like that. Like I wouldn't say it was one of my top 3 experiences, but I could really see this happening. And I spoke to the person that also invited me to the event and I shared the idea with him. And we started talking about it and he's like, I would support you. And his name is Johan. If you guys know him, he is a top voice on LinkedIn. He's actually one of the speakers at my conference. So very full circle. He invited me to that event. I invited him to speak. And he was a huge supporter throughout the process in like sharing on his platform and encouraging people to come and things like that. So it was amazing. We spoke about it that day. And I left knowing I'm booking this space, literally connected with the CEO again, booked it on the spot after our conversation. And you guys, the event happened 4 weeks later. Now, I'm not someone who plans events in 4 weeks, especially large events. I have never hosted a conference before, but I just had a knowing that it would all work out. I had a really great feeling about it. And I'm like, if I do it, it has to be in the summer, right? I don't want to wait. I knew it would be in Toronto. And if you know Toronto weather, you know you can't have an event in the winter, of course. And it felt like too long to wait until the spring or next summer. Like that would be just wild. Like that's just too much preparation. Sometimes when we set a goal, the best thing to do is instantly take action. And I do that a lot. So I instantly took action. I paid for it. And I was like, okay, well, I guess it's happening. At that point, I don't even know if anyone is going to want to come to join me for this, but I just had a feeling. So I announced it probably a week after. Within a week of deciding that I did it, booking the space, I started announcing it. And there's so much that goes into planning an event. There's like the AV and the equipment and the walkthrough and the food and the people and the volunteers and speakers and promotional and like swag and stuff like that. There's so much that goes into it. And I am actually shocked at how effortlessly things just came together within those 4 weeks. You have to think there are landing pages, like the ability to even take payment to sell tickets, all of that coming together. It just happened extremely effortlessly. My calendar is very full, but it's like it had opened up the perfect amount of space to give me the capacity to do this. And what happened next was amazing. As soon as I announced the event, so this is still like 3 weeks out before the live podcast event took place, I got people that just like reached out and they're like, I want to be part of your mission and I want to volunteer. Literally without me even thinking of volunteers at this point. I was still consumed with like, I need the landing page. I need the payment gateway. I need the details. I need who's speaking. I need the agenda. Like how many hours is this? What time is it at? What date is it at? Like all of these things. And they're just like, I want to be part of the mission. And I want to help. I want to be a volunteer. I'm like, freaking amazing. I took their names down. I didn't even know what I would need help with, but I'm like, I will get back to you very soon. So lining up the venue, the volunteer sponsorships, like inviting like HRPA to be there, the speakers, all of that. And then in the middle, what happened was I had realized that I need to write a keynote speech. I put it in the agenda. I said that I would speak. I knew I had the intention for this to be very inspiring. I knew that a lot of people would be looking for their next roles. And I know what the audience is like in my world. And I'm just like, I need this to be inspiring. I need it to be something that people walk away feeling the energy and the possibility and their dreams coming to life. And that's all I knew. So guys, next what I did, I've spoken on stages, but I've never done a keynote like for myself like that. I've hosted live events. I've had like 10,000 people at my events online, but this is a different game in person. And I set the goal that this was going to be a keynote where it is super inspiring. I'm super vulnerable. I share stories that I've never shared before. And also I'm going to have no notes and I'm going to be standing on stage, like vulnerably in the middle, sharing the story because I know it can help other people. And then naively, I go into ChatGPT and I type in like, I'm doing a 45-minute keynote and this is like 2 weeks, 3 weeks before the event. And I'm like, how long do I need to prepare for it? Break down exactly what I need to do as per like a top speaker's or timelines. And it basically said that for every single minute of the speech, you should practice 1 hour. So I'm like, 45 hours? My goodness, I don't have 45 free hours until the event. So that is kind of the messy middle where the panic literally set in of like, should I even do this? Instead, should I interview someone? Like, was my intuition wrong that I should, just do this so quickly and impulsively? It's a message that I want to get out there. Should I just take the easy route out? Because guys, it would have been so easy for me at that point. There was so much to plan. There's my full regular scope of leading an organization and all of my clients. and a business to run. And I was just like, you know what? I'm doing it. And I will not have the 45 hours. That's all good. But I'm going to write it. It's going to be like the best speech that I've ever given. It's going to inspire. This would be the most stressful part of planning the whole thing. I'd realized I didn't have enough time. I'm someone that always likes to prepare in advance. I didn't give myself the timelines. And in the middle, I was stressed. And it's like there's all these other things going on, all these people registering and asking questions. And like there's so much added to this and the promotional posts that go out and all the emails and like doing all of that. So all of that's happening in the background while I'm thinking, oh my goodness, am I not going to have time to write this speech? And at that point, I had posted about it on social media. I put it on the agenda. I'm like, no, I'm doing it. I even had reached out and thought about some speakers that I could interview instead. And I thought, who else could deliver the message that's on my heart for my own conference, right? So I decided that those thoughts that were coming up were actually very fear-based. I always like to think about if a thought comes up and it's telling you to do something and then you change your mind and then it's like, no, maybe that's not for me. Maybe I shouldn't actually do that. What I have realized is just through self-reflection, I'm someone that sets a big goal. And then afterwards, I kind of question, ooh, is that too big? Should I really be doing that? Was that the right decision? I made that decision impulsively. Like, should I really be doing this? Is this the right thing? And I always like to go inward and listen to my intuition. And I knew that it was fear holding me back. It was fear that was trying to get me to change it, to not say what I really wanted to say, to stay silent about the message that was on my heart. And I knew that was fear-based. I knew that if I had the time, that it was aligned with my desire. It was aligned with the vision that I saw for this whole event. And I knew that it was the right decision. So I'm like, that's it. I'm doing it. I literally practiced for 1 week. The day before, I was kind of thinking like, oh my goodness, I'm not ready. Maybe I need notes. Am I going to forget everything when I get on the stage? I had all these thoughts. And then that evening came the night before, and I was just so calm and confident and excited. And I'm like, at this point, it's done. What happened was my son actually ended up making the playoffs of his baseball team. So this was not a planned game at all. And this was the night before the conference. I had envisioned like meditating, maybe typically go to yoga at night before an event like this, maybe to the sauna to really relax, to really be silent. I go into meditation. I take time to myself, and I really want to get clear on like the message, the purpose, and the feeling that I want to have and I want people to get from the other side of this message. So that was my plan. That was fully thrown out the window. My son ended up making the playoffs. So cute. P.S. Afterwards, they ended up coming in second. I was shattered. I was almost going to cry, but they made the playoffs. And I'm like, I can't not be there. This is an important moment. So I ended up going. And it was not what I had planned for that night of. I actually also ran out of printer paper. I needed to print the registration list. There were a couple people that had registered last minute, and I needed to know their names and all this stuff. Realize we don't have printer paper, end up walking to Walmart with my husband, and it's like late. This is so not, I never have a scattered evening before a big thing. Like not even before leaving for a trip. I always like this Zen, calm kind of vibe. And that's not what the evening called for. And the next morning I had to wake up at 4:55 in the morning. And that was just the way that it was, but it was perfect. I wasn't sure if I was even going to be able to sleep the night before. Ended up sleeping like a baby from like 10:30, maybe 10:30 to like 4:55. Woke up and I'm like, game time. Oh, all of that to say, that was the pre-event scramble. That was like the part where 4 weeks out, it felt like a push and pull. It felt like on one hand was the big mission and I knew I was doing it. I had booked it. And the other side, I was second guessing myself. Should I have done this? Was this the right time? Was this the right date? And then getting more confident, sticking to the vision of what I actually set out to do and the reason that this event was happening. So all of that to say, days before the event, I was focused on, as you know, creating the content for the event and making sure that the messaging was right and all that good stuff. The event fully sold out. So we were over capacity. I had to there were certain posts I didn't end up posting. There were certain emails that were going to go out that I didn't end up sharing. The event fully sold out, which is so fantastic. I mean, the room can hold 110 people, and that's exactly how many people registered. And I knew that the right people would be in the right place, in the right room that were meant to be there. So these were the things that I actually was focused on planning. These are the things I could control. I can control, what happens in terms of like the volunteers, the roles, the registrations. I can control even the food, the content, the stage, the mics, like making sure we are all ready for that. The music, like there's so many things. Even the swag that I had ordered, I had like Career Cravings podcast, sweaters and lanyards and t-shirts and things like that made only, in that short time. But it all got done. So these were the things that were top of mind for me. And when I was picturing, I guess I didn't have as much time meditating on the event, but what I kept picturing were those things that I had planned. But things came up that really, really shocked me, and I'm going to break them down for you because they shocked me so much that I actually couldn't sleep for 3 days after the event. I was on a complete high, like a natural happiness feeling. And actually, one of the volunteers, Genesis, who I love, if you guys were there, you met her. She was amazing on registration. She was everywhere. She was going above and beyond. Just an amazing human being. I'm so grateful that I met her live that day, but she messaged me the day after and she's just like, it was amazing. I couldn't sleep from happiness. And I'm like, you too? I couldn't sleep from happiness. So I shared that with her as well. I could control the things in my sphere. Those were the things that I had focused on. But the first thing that shocked me, that really, really shocked me, was the energy in the room. You guys, I have been to so many conferences and everyone here, it was different. The energy was different. And this is something you cannot plan for. You can't envision an event and, try to plan the energy because other people are in control of that. And I knew this is a challenging job market. A lot of people are looking for roles. Being an HR professional, even if you're an HR leader, like you are tackling a lot right now with reductions and there's so much going on in the space. And the first shock that I had was the sheer energy of the room. And the only way I tried to really think about the way to describe this, and so many people had messaged me. I had like 40 people reach out with DMs saying the same type of words, the energy. And maybe you saw some of those posts too, the energy in the room, the energy in the room. And people there, like they were literally talking to one another, sharing. They're like, are you an HR star? No, are you? You should join. No, you should join. It's amazing. Where did you meet? Where do you work? What do you do? And connecting. And like I could see people just having an amazing time, opening up, talking, sharing. And this really fed my energy too. So the first keynote that I shared started in a really somber way. And I share a lot of vulnerable stories, which you will hear here on the podcast, by the way. I'm going to be sharing the actual live podcast recordings that took place that day. So you can hear what it was like to be in that room or to at least try to envision it. So I'm going to share my keynote and I'm also going to share the panel, the Q&A panel that we had answering all the questions, which was freaking phenomenal, by the way. The questions that came in and the energy and everything, you'll start to get a sense in the next 2 episodes of what that sounded like. Of course, things are very, very different in person, but the energy in the room was palpable and everyone had felt it and everyone was sharing that and it was feeding each other. And it was just incredible to see it before my eyes. And it almost brings tears to my eyes because seriously, it just went so much better than I could have ever dreamed of it. I'm so glad that I did it. And I'm so glad that I didn't lean into those fears. The energy became the word that everyone started to describe the event with. That resonated everywhere. There was so much laughter. There were people supporting each other. People were like clapping and like, I'll tell you about the glow sticks later, but maybe you saw some of the footage. It was just freaking amazing, palpable. Everyone had felt it and everyone was commenting on it. So the feedback was just incredible. And I couldn't have planned that. So I thank everyone that was there that came into that room with an open heart. The second thing that I could not wrap my mind around, this is what really kept me up for literally 3 nights straight after the event. And it took time to really process. I had to journal on this because it was just so shocking. I'll tell you about the agenda of the event. So it's like at first there was the networking, grab a coffee, come on in, speak to people. I personally tried to hug as many people as humanly possible. I think I hugged every single person that walked through the door and like really set that stage with the energy. We took pictures. My photographer was there taking pictures as well. It was just like a vibe of just like networking, talking, connecting, getting in the space. Next, we did 2 live podcast recordings back to back, which you're going to hear in the next 2 episodes. And then after that, this is what shocked me because after the 2 podcast episodes, it was lunch, networking, and headshots. So what I had pictured in my mind was that there would be a lineup for headshots. There would be a lineup for lunch. And then there would be people all over. There's like space, there's tables, there's like couches, there's lots of chairs. And I pictured everyone kind of being spread out. There's also tables downstairs where the barista is. And I kind of pictured everyone just kind of spreading out and, really celebrating each other, connecting with each other. And I didn't really know what I would be doing at that time, but I kind of thought I'd be walking around, talking to people, like connecting with them. And there ended up being a lineup of like nearly 100 people that were just waiting to share their stories with me. And the things that I heard, I am so, so grateful for. This is like really, this was shocking. And for my family and my friends to be there to witness it and for everyone to be there, it was so meaningful. I had a lineup of people, like this wasn't planned. It wasn't announced. It's just what started happening that were just waiting to share their story. And what I heard was the podcast changed my life. There was someone that came and she's like, I landed 3 offers. Like I was waiting to come here to tell you that. I got an offer in 10 days, literally yesterday. It came in. So we were hugging. There were so many people. There were past clients that had been in my world from a long time ago that had incredible results too that you've heard about inside of this podcast. And if you've been in my world and they were all there, but there was a huge lineup of people just sharing love. Like that's the only way. So it's like we were hugging, we were taking a picture, and they were just sharing their stories. And I could not have ever thought of that. Like I couldn't have planned for that. I had no idea to expect that because I've never hosted an event. Everything that I do is virtual. I'm like, yes, I hear incredible stories daily from clients, but this is so different for everyone to be in the same room and to feed off of this energy. I never expected that. And it really, really blew me away. And it was probably my favorite part of the entire thing. And of course, people were waiting for headshots and then they would kind of go from the headshots to me and then they'd go over to the food. Like it was just amazing. I never expected to hear the results that I heard in that way at all. Just the connection and the stories, which we'll get into afterwards, but it was just freaking incredible. Now, the third thing that I didn't expect, I was sort of shocked with, was the ripple effect afterwards on social media and all of the DMs, the posts, even the podcast episodes that are going to come out of it. I'm so excited for you to hear them. And people just saying like, I'm never going to forget this day. You changed my life. Could see people leave with like standing a little straighter, being a bigger smile on their face than when they came in. And that I know a lot of people go to networking events feeling, a little bit nervous, wondering how it's going to be, if it's going to be awkward, if they know anyone, and seeing that it was just so different. It just energizes me so much, seeing that ripple effect. And hearing from Genesis, she also couldn't sleep because she was part of that energy because she was in the room. Like, are you freaking kidding me? So, oh my goodness, the only way to summarize really the things that shocked me was it was just so much better than I ever expected and so well beyond my wildest expectations. I thought maybe like 30 people would come. And then the fact that it even sold out and the results and hearing them and the hugs, all of the hugs, and just amazing. When I left, I truly said, this is like the best day of my career ever. I told my husband, I'm like, this is like top 3 days. And he was like, what are 1 and 2? They better involve me. And I'm like, yes. The day we got married and then the day we had our son. And then third, it was this event. So it was just unbelievable. And if you were part of it, I want to say thank you. Now, since the event, I've had so many messages of people saying like, do it in my city, do it here, do it there. And where are you going to do it? So here are my high-level thoughts. Career Cravings Live definitely will be an annual event. at the very least. So in 2026, definitely hosting another event. So many other lessons learned as well. It will only be better. Now I know exactly what it's like, how to plan things to be even more efficient, how to do it better. And I will not leave 4 weeks to plan this event. I'm going to do it much further in advance to have the notice. And truly, I can't wait for it. Now, this is going to be something that's regular. I also see in the future hosting events in many cities and having a live podcast tour and just setting this up in everywhere. Because I know there's people all over that listen. I just happen to be in Toronto, so I thought it's the most logical place to start with. Watch out for that next year. In spring, summer 2026, going to host another event. And I'm thinking about the differences and what the difference will be. And I'm actually thinking this will no longer just be an HR event, because I'm also hearing like all of the messages shared. There were people from other industries there that just happened to come because they really love the podcast. They really wanted to be there and got so much value out of it, not even being in HR. So that being said, I am going to open it up next year. That will be one of the key differences, and more to come on that. But I almost don't even want to wait a whole year, but I'm like, it just makes sense. This was it. Okay. And then we'll pick it back up in spring, summer. So more to come on that. But I want to tell you about what's next. So because I know I've shared the behind the scenes view today, the next 2 episodes, I'm going to share the actual recordings from the sessions. So let me tell you about what they looked like. The first one was that keynote that I told you about, started off kind of somber, kind of shaky, kind of grim, and then really turned into something super energizing where we activate the next level of your dreams. So you can do this by just listening to the podcast as well. I mean, it was totally different if you're in the room, and I hope you're in the room next year so we could be together for this, but I will share that live recording from that podcast here. And then the week after, what you're going to hear is the Q&A session. So I had 2 amazing speakers that joined me so that we can answer any and all career questions. And there were guys, first of all, I had no idea if anyone would even ask a question. And the speakers said, they're like, well, what do we talk about? I'm like, we're going to talk about whatever people want to talk about. I want to know what's on people's minds, what's on their hearts. I want to know what they're thinking, what they need support with. And whatever those things are, that is exactly what we're going to be talking about. It's completely unplanned. And of course, fear-based thoughts. I've never done an event. So I was like, maybe no one will ask anything. Guys, so many hands shot up. We couldn't get to all of them. We went for an hour and 15 minutes and we had to cut it off because I'm like, we need to eat the food. Like the food's going to get cold. So we need to stop this. So we announced the very last question, but I got questions I didn't expect as well. And one of the things, actually, I'll flag one question, and it was just like, it was so fun. Guys, it was so fun. Like we just laughed. And because it was unscripted, it was just truly an opportunity to just be in the moment and to really enjoy it with everyone else. And it was just amazing. Anyway, you'll hear it in our voices, I'm sure. But one of the people, it was towards the end, he just stood up and he's like, I want to know, how do you have that positivity? How do you have this energy? We can all feel the energy. Like, how do you have that? And I think that speaks to one of the things that blew me away, but it also speaks to like, people want to be part of that. People want to be in the room for these experiences. And you've probably seen, if you follow me on social media, like on Instagram, you know, I've been attending different events and entrepreneur events and getting myself in different rooms, conferences, and growth for myself. And it's because of that energy. I want to be in the energy of possibility, of excitement. And that's exactly what Career Cravings Live was. And that's why people started asking, like, how do you do that? So we went deep into that, but so many other really great questions about getting to the next level in your career. One of my VIPs and my clients, long-term clients, she asked a question about getting her VP role and like so many other things. So that was the event. It was just incredible. And then also afterwards, I held a VIP dinner. So this is something I'm definitely going to bring back next time I host this too. The interesting thing is the VIP tickets go first. I had no idea. I'm like, will anyone even want to? So what was included this time was like my resume transformation course, also live coaching and like a dinner. So we would go to dinner together. And then during the dinner, you get coaching on whatever you want. And that dinner was so special. I also didn't know what that would look like. And it just felt like a dinner with really close friends. And like we went really deep, very emotional topics, like big. One of the people there was like, I'm writing a book. Another one is like, my true desire is to be a singer. Like we talked about, and she's like, I don't even know if I should share this with you guys. Like, I'm not looking for my next HR role. I just wanted to be here and be in the energy. So, and then of course there were the regular coaching questions of like getting to the next level and becoming a VP and like getting your next role. And that was all fantastic. It was like an 18-hour day for me, waking up at 4:55 in the morning. And then we got home around 10. And it wasn't a day I'll never forget. It was an experience I'll never forget. And it just taught me so many lessons about going after your dreams. Like I had waited 3 years and then just decided it was time. And I just decided it was going to be amazing. And it was. So if you take anything away from this episode, I know it's very different and unscripted than like more than anything I share on here. But if you take anything away, it's like, name that big dream, even if it's in the back of your mind, and then take action on it. You never know. Things always go better than expected, right? Even when something we think is going wrong in the moment, it always leads to something better than expected. Also, get yourself in the room. Be in the energy of the things that you want to achieve, because it is incredible when we do that. So I know we're in October. October is an incredible time of year for me and my family. I'll just add that this month, my husband turned 40 and we went back to Hawaii, which is where we spent his 39th birthday. It's his favorite place in the world. It's also where we honeymooned. So we went there on a family vacation back to the Four Seasons Maui, which is like my favorite place in the world. I'm addicted. If you guys see me, always go to the gym. If you see me in person, I'm always wearing my Four Seasons hat. I'm just like obsessed with them. I'm like, Maui's the best place in the world. So we did that. I'm going to do a debrief on lessons learned and that whole experience. And also later this month, I'm actually heading to another retreat. I have signed up for a retreat with one of my coaches and mentors that's happening in New York State on the lake. And I don't even know what to expect, to be honest. When she put it out there, I'm like, I just know I need to be in your energy. We were on a retreat together 3 years ago in California, and that's where we met. And I'll share kind of some of the stories from there as well and why I decided this retreat was right for me as well. But if you take nothing else away from this episode, it's also like, get yourself in the room. This is something that I've been doing a lot of. And even me getting myself in the room of not only throwing the actual conference and creating the room, but also now putting myself in this room of the retreat. And I'm not even sure what I will be getting out of it at this point. I just know I need to be there, and I know that it will expand me. I know personal development is something that's super, super important to me. And I know some growth opportunity is just waiting for me there. So I can't wait to unlock it. I can't wait to see what that looks like and share with you here. Also, let me know in the comments if you like these type of episodes where I'm just going behind the scenes, sharing things the way that they went in a way that you may not have seen them in other places. Like there is no other way for me to express this, like on a post on social media. I mean, a 30-second reel, there's just no way for me to share this. But if you like also learning the pieces about my own development and journey and things that I'm doing, let me know. At the conference, I actually heard a lot of people mentioning that that's what they love hearing the most. So I want to be intentional about doing a lot more of that. So I'll be letting you in behind the scenes of things I'm learning, the pain points, things that are helping me grow. I know I share a ton of stories from my career, from my HR career, but there's just so much that happens. There's not enough time to cover it on a weekly show. So let me know if it's resonating with you. Also, as always, your reviews mean everything to me. And I truly mean they mean everything to me. It helps me host the Career Cravings live conference just like I did, literally, because it helps spread to more people that may need to hear this message. So if you got anything out of today's show or in the podcast in general, please take literally 1 second to leave a review on Spotify or Apple, wherever you're listening. It means everything to me, and it just takes a second, and it helps me reach more people that may need to hear it. So Thank you so much. If you made it till the end, my goodness, I love you. Thank you for being here with me. Because I'm in the moment of thinking about all the hugs that took place at the live conference show, I'm sending you a virtual hug. I love you. Thank you for being here. And let me know if you want to hear more of these podcast episodes or you want to hear just only the job search stuff. Either way is totally okay. I love you. Thank you for being here and see you in the next episode where I'm going to break down 2 of the Career Cravings live recordings. See you there. Hey, before you go, if you've enjoyed listening to today's show, I would love your support. Please take a moment to leave a review anywhere where you listen to podcasts. And here's the exciting part. I'm running a special contest and giving away a one-on-one session with yours truly. All you have to do is leave a review, take a screenshot, and send it to me in my DMs. All of my contact info is in the show notes. I appreciate you so much, and I cannot wait to build the career and life that you've been craving together. See you next week.